Ready to go, ladies! The third place decider. Hold my beer against the Team Russia. Best of 3 series here at the HeroesHype Premier Series. And yeah, Hold my beer has been doing pretty well recently. Actually, at this point, what I'm currently realizing is that our team names are flipped over, so I'm going to adjust that in just a second, so don't worry about that. But as we're heading into our first draft, the one thing that we still have to definitely acknowledge here is that especially Hold My Beer is doing pretty well right now. They're pretty highly placed within Division 1 of Heroes Launch, for example. They're doing a pretty decent job also when it comes to just generally them playing in the HeroesHype Premier Series as well. They weren't quite able to make it through Washed Up, but I mean, that's for good reason. That's ex-pros that they go up against, so that's definitely a bit of a different caliber that they have to face off there. Now against Team Russia, it's not really too much different, but I really can appreciate that Hold My Beer is just going up against all of these teams, trying to improve, putting themselves out there, and just taking those lessons in order to prepare for their next Division 1 season. That's actually pretty cool to observe. And we've seen them play a lot recently. Most of these guys are on Grandmaster level, and they have been doing a fair amount of work there. Good strategies with some stuff around the Vikings, as we've seen on Aldrich Pass. So whenever Aldrich Pass pops up in this series, I would expect them to try and play that Vikings Sylvana style again that they executed a few times now. But when we're looking over to the team right now, we have bans on Tracer and on Maiev. We have also Alarak and ETC banned out for now. And it should be an interesting one. The Russians were hyper-aggressive yesterday and they nearly took down Granite, but they weren't quite able to drop them. And that means that in the grand final that we're going to cast later on today, we have Granite Gaming facing off against Washed Up 2.0. So that's also an interesting match. For sure, especially since we're having Nick play with Chris, Mane, Hazo-Ops, and Masquerade on that lineup. So that should be pretty awesome. But as it stands, we have our first pick. So instead of a Sylvana setup for Gore Rider or one of his fall-step plays, we're getting to see Hanzo this time by him. And the only question remains, is Team Russia going to play Chen today again? That's one of the big questions, because Stork has pretty much started to pick Chen whenever he gets the chance to. No other team has really respected Chen. And Chen is taken immediately. Okay, so it's pretty cool to see that he has that one hero there, which is his flavor of the month right now, and he absolutely commits to it. And they do it actually with a positive win rate on the hero at this point. They lost a fair amount of the games where he played Chen as well, and Chen oftentimes got even banned out against him, since teams just said, listen, we don't want to deal with this crap. But yeah, they're sticking with it, and I like it. They also have fall set now, super early committed to, so that they have even more displacement around boss fights that they can use later on as well. It's a pretty cool setup now. And talking about globals, immediately the Haka gets picked now. But the Haka against Chen is gonna make a bit of a weird lane there. Tyrande is also already taken, so at least if you get a drag connected, for example, you have the additional stun from Tyrande and the Hunter's Mark that can definitely help. But that already brings me to the expectation that we're going to see a frontliner for them that has a direct stun, so that they can capitalize a little bit more on Tyranda's follow-up. That's at least what I would expect here. And for exactly that reason, Nuborak gets banned out. He's one of the best engagement tanks in the setup. And obviously you also want to make sure that if you play Chen, there are as few interrupts against you as possible. But we already have quite a few there on the side of Hold My Beer as they're trying to go into this series there. I also want to warn everybody, if you watched the previous games on the YouTube channel, you probably know that we had a couple of lag spikes. Apparently there's a few problems currently on multiple services. Not only Battle.net is affected by this, but we have some weird spikes every now and then. Hopefully by now that's over and we don't have to deal with that in these games that we are having coming up right now. But if it happens, just be warned, it's not going to be too much of a deal. So far we had only small disturbances, nothing too crazy, but just if it pops up so that you know what's going on. Okay, you want axe? You get axe. They go for Suljin. We already had some really cool strategies by the Russians in the previous games here in the tournament, but against Hold My Beer, it seems like they feel they can get away with a few picks that are more on the unorthodox side. Kuni-chan hasn't even picked his hero, but whenever Stork plays Chen, he usually finds himself on the main tank. Has played a fair amount of Johanna actually. And there's Li Ming, and as expected, the direct stun tank. Muradin gets propped in, and that gives us Miranda. Muradin stun into Tyrande stun into the blow-up comp. And for the Russians, what's going to be our last pick here? What are we gonna get from them? Kuni-chan, is it going to be the Johanna setup again, or is he going to go into a different frontliner? I mean, we still have Diablo and Garrosh up, so there's plenty. I just don't really know what Kuni-chan on the frontline is really familiar with. And he goes into Johanna again. Playing it safe here as we go into game number 1 on Cursed Hollow. Game number 1, everybody! Team Russia against Hold My Beer on Cursed Hollow. Stalk on Chen for the blue team. We have Shamsig on Rega, Banabir on Falstad, Kuni-chan on Johanna, and Vodka-chan on Suljin. And on the right side of the map, Balsa on Liming for Hold My Beer. We see Scope on Tyrande, Goride on Hanzo, Cesabos on Dehaka, and Satras on Muradin. The dwarf in play, and yeah, let's see what they can pull off here. For them, obviously, it is going to be pretty tough to go up against the Russians here. They're definitely getting a lot of experience playing against all of these former pros or semi-pros, but let's see what they can pull off in this game now. The Eye of the Tiger on level 1. Once again, we are also seeing the recklessness for Suljin at this point, so the added spell power for him. I can smell the guillotine already. And for Dehaka, we actually see the Enduring Swarm here as the level 1 talent. But the Russians are pretty much known for their aggression, and that's one of the things that makes me a little bit afraid for Hold My Beer, because I really think once that the Russians get a slight edge there, they are going to really try and push the advantage and absolute obliterate their opponent. So if you're not ready for it, you can easily be overrun by Team Russia. And that's something where Hold My Beer now has to prove that they definitely have enough experience to deal at least with that situation. Up to the top, already the encounter, Banabir on his Jade Falstad is moving out there and is not getting locked down by Dehaka and Muradin. But especially a rotation with Muradin and Tyrande could be dangerous for any team there later on. But it's going to be a real interesting setup as the Russians are hopefully trying to showcase once again their typical aggression there. And the Chen style that we've seen from Stork in all of these games has been pretty much enjoyable. Camps are taken now on both sides as we're having Gore Rider moving in to drop those Siege Giants. There's a little bit much of a commitment. I mean, we actually have like 3 hero dancing around it, so it's a bit much for that. But also Dehaka and Falstad are both at the top lane where they belong, as the first tribute will spawn bot side. So the whole idea is to ensure that once that the tribute spawns, you have the opportunity to go straight down and turn it into a 4 versus 5, whereas you still deal with Siege Giants and others. And that's something where drag can become important, just drag those Siege Giants back into a minion wave. Camps are now taken all over the place. It's not only the Siege Giants. Shamsig showing his dancing skills, our little Rega dancing queen right there. Come on, baby. You know you want it. Hit the button. And nope. Instead, our little wolf is just popping in and takes the camp. And we have the same soon happening on the other side too. Hold My Beer with a later grab will probably have a better position defending. We're having now the level 4 talents coming in with the dominance. Also Hero Stalker. And there's the Reverberation. Alright. Working already on the attack speed slow, which is definitely going to benefit them against Suljin. And Suljin is already active at the bottom of the map together with Stork. Stork soaks all of the damage from the towers. And it's pretty much the Fnatic... It's not quite the Fnatic McDonald's strategy, but it's kind of similar. So for everybody that is not really in the know of what the McDonald's strategy is, it's actually pretty simple. Fnatic, they won... Oh, nice kill against Liming. Fnatic won a mid-season brawl in Sweden. And one of the key strategies that they used it twice in the tournament, once in the grand final, and they were able to win both times. They played with Chen, which at the time was by no means in the meta. Another kill, this time against Kuni-chan though. And the way that they did it was they played a double support with Vala as the main damage dealer, one global, and Chen as the main tank. And the whole idea was simply to push with Chen through structures. Chen was just sitting in front of structures, soaking the damage and drinking all day long, whereas the double support burned through it. And the way that they came up with the strategy back then was that they were in a scrim block on a boot camp that they had, and they realized all of a sudden that everybody was hungry, but the local McDonald's would close in roughly 20 minutes. So they were in the scrim and they said, guys, we have to YOLO something. So they went for a kind of fun strategy and just went full YOLO, hardcore in a lane, and tried to overrun the opponent. And it worked out so well that they refined the strategy a little bit, and it turned out to be the winning strategy for the tournament then later on. So it was actually pretty amazing. But it's not quite what we're seeing here from Team Russia, but a few of the elements are definitely very reminiscent of that time. Here comes another kill against Johanna potentially, but Kuni-chan gets out. Dehaka is second too late for it. Suljin is still getting the value, and Falstad has so far not flown in, but is finally making the move here. The problem is that that tribute has already been taken, and that gives us even a lead now for Hold My Beer. Subdue on level 7 has once again been taken for Kuni-chan as well, for as Johanna plays. We're seeing the Boomerang for Falstad after he went into the Static Shield as his level 4 ability. And yeah, on level 7s we also need Calamity, of course, and we have the Celestial Attunement for Tyrande. 8 stacks for Muradin. Went straight into the Give Him the Axe here. Could have totally seen him also go into the newly revamped Skullcracker. But we see that a lot less. Teams were willing to experiment with it a bit after the patch dropped. But no, it's not really a talent that we see a lot. Arcanite Axes, on the other hand, the dream of every ARAM player, obviously. The endless stacking. Don't really think that we're going to see as many stacks as you see in a normal all-random, all-mid-game in a brawl, but we're definitely going to have quite a few of those when there are boss fights, and that could be enough for Suljin to make a huge difference here. And Suljin actually gets played on the North American side even a little bit. It's not really a massive played hero, but especially the Lost Boys on the NA side have played him quite a bit, which is kind of interesting here. Doesn't make an appearance in Europe usually, but in this game, the Russians are totally willing to capitalize on it. This, on the other hand, is a bit weird, but there's the interrupt. Or is there? Kuni-chan goes in, not even the flashlight used, just goes in for the auto attack. That was a last-ditch effort. That would have been the second tribute for the red team. But now they're starting to move in right away to try and get a little bit of value. Nice! Good stacks for the level 7, but also good damage. And Stalk is already starting to push that out. And everybody is intimidated. The Panda is just wobbling around here, obviously drunk, and is starting to make his play. And also Screw Ale, we all know that Stalk has vodka in that barrel. Starting to jump straight in for another potential kill against Tyrande. She's not the only one in trouble. Dehaka is also low, but Tyrande gets followed now as Rhaegar comes in too, and there we have it. Dehaka dead, Falsa gets dropped too. At least Liming and Hanzo are getting a kill for the team. Here comes the Stormbolt, more damage against Suljin, and he's already moving in as we're having the slow against Li Ming, and she gets out. Nicely played. Stalk still playing around here, as he's also going for the quick channel, but Muradin's already sitting at the side, and so I was like, ooh, look at that, a Stormbolt stack, amazing, and the Tyrande Owl comes in too. Yeah, these are these mini stuns that I've been talking about earlier. A few problems here today, just generally. So yeah, a bit of a global thing that we unfortunately have to deal with, but as long as it stays this limited, it shouldn't really be an issue. Hinterland Blast! Oh my god, look at these heroics! I've seen Hinterland Blast, I haven't even seen everything. Guillotine is something that we obviously expected after Recklessness was picked on level 1 for Suljin. That's not really a shocker. But now we have Hinterland Blast and the Falling Sword also committed to, so they're going full backline jump here with the setup that they're rocking right now. These fights are going to be a blast. They're going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be quite funny. Pretty traditional talents then again for Hold My Beer, so they are playing more of a normal style. Arrow comes through, connects, and Shamzik with a self-ancestral temper. That doesn't work out. The Hinterland Blast on the other hand, that found value. And Suljin is dead too, as we have Kuni-chan jumping in with a falling sword. He gets the kill against Tyrande, but it's still a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Hold My Beer. Would have probably looked very different if Suljin, if Rhaegar wouldn't have died or could have ancestraled himself. But as it stands, they want to go for more kills, and holy shit, the Panda is on the warpath right now. They're trying to make the play for Muradin, but Falstad, oh my god, barrels away and gets the shield. Stalk is still not in a place where he can get a kill, but damn, they are definitely fighting for this one. Yeah, the owl comes through, but Barnaby dodges it. Well, still decent damage from the camp that they stole away. 15 stacks now on the Arcanite Axis. 4 kills against 4. And the fight over the tribute is still commencing. Down. Oh, Stalk actually? Yeah, the Ancestral was needed. I was just about to say, he could even go down here. But yep, right now we're having again the stacks continued with 19. Are they really gonna make the play for the boss? Okay. YOLO straight for the boss, and the owl is already flying and signals immediately what's happening here. Stork eats the stun, eats the root, eats the storm bolt. That panda is getting completely wrecked here. Panda abuse that we're seeing in the game. The guillotine doesn't connect. Oh! Up here with the attempt to drop the hinterland blast, but Johanna is dead after the jump into the back line. Here comes the panda again. Stork with the ult. Muradin is so low, and they get the kill against Muradin, and now Tyranda's dead too. It's all the panda action that we're seeing here. Gore Rider is on the run. Falstad. Is he gonna fly in? 24 HP. And Hanzo gets out. But they got the tribute. Yep, the Russian team, they get the tribute, and now they also make another attempt at grabbing the boss here. Talking Muradin, by the way, if he dies. The immediate ping on Rega, as Team Russia is just saying, dude, the fuck are you doing? You stop dying to the boss here. So Rega already running out, Shamsik realizing, okay boys, I'm gonna get this done. But now we're having, besides other things, only about 24 stacks for Muradin, so he's soon gonna get that cooldown reduction and the Pierce. But yeah, it's definitely a YOLO game here. And the Panda, as we said before, he is getting mad value now. 22,000 damage for him, 22,000 for Falstad. And Suljin taking the numbers with 23k. And he's also getting the kills. Suljin goes down, Hinterland Blast kill against Hanzo. And the rest of the fight is happening around the tribute as Falstad gets Ancestral, tries to get the kill against Tyrande. They're going straight in for Muradin now. Johanna still with the slows. They Haka, Muradin, they're both low. Falling Sword comes in, and the kill against Jojo. Kuni-chan is just getting wrecked in every single fight. Barnaby gets out, God knows how, but they get the kill against Rega, and now Stork is again all by his lonesome. 2 more seconds until he has the ult ready. Are they going to try and make a play there? Boss has moved through the fort and is now moving straight towards the top. And there's the triple panda action. All right. He's full going on for Tyrande. And Tyrande is like, listen, dude, I'm okay with a threesome, but 4 is just one too many. Let's get out of here. The panda is down as Li Ming is getting the drop on him. But hell yeah, that game is all over the place. Li Ming nearly getting killed by the guillotine, but the kill against Suljin gives him with the dominance the HP back, and now they drop Falstad too. 11 kills against 8. Another interrupt as Johanna is back, and the Russians are just gonna go full YOLO here. I mean, they are going full aggression at this point. Bot lane, Li Ming is now on the defense, trying to make sure that they are not going through the wall with this, but holy hell, this is getting nuts. Suljin with the ensnare on level 13 now. Ring of Fire plus the Giant Killer. And with that, it's definitely a bit of a fiesta that we're seeing here right now. The Russians are definitely enjoying this. Keep in mind, this is the 3rd place decider, so we're not at the grand final here. But obviously they still won a couple of points. But as we already realized in the draft pretty quickly, the Russians are looking at this and are saying, okay, we should be much better than Hold My Beer here, at least on the experience level. So let's make sure that this is going to be a bit more out of the box thinking, and that's exactly what they're providing right now. By the way, 1 more stack for Suljin on the baseline, and he's going to have the range increase, which is definitely going to help him quite a bit to stay slightly safer. If he wants to, though. Now the Panda's already trying to jump in again. The problem for the Russians is that they don't have level 16, but their opponent already has the extra talent, so that's a huge problem. That's a big issue, actually, but they're obviously still fighting. I mean, why wouldn't they? They're the Russians, after all. And Suljin is immediately dead. There's the Panda again in the back line. Tyrande is down. Rega has also fallen. Still trying to get another kill in here. Muradin slow, trying to move away. Panda fighting over to the top. The fight is all over the place. But Li Ming gets the kill. Balzer definitely getting the most out of the mage at this point. And this is going to be curse, guys. This is going to be a curse. 4 heroes down. Chen the only survivor. And this is going to be a curse against the blue team once that they decide to take it. And with that, we're already seeing them trying to defend the lanes a little bit. The camps are taken out. Down here we have the siege giants that will definitely do a lot of work, but they're going for the boss too. They're trying to combo the two. They might be overplaying their hand a little bit right now. Yeah, that's not quite gonna work the way that they wanted to. Chen is gonna try and interrupt this now. Suljin is back, Rega's back too. Falstad can fly in. good luck with that move. That's a mistake. That might work out. If it does, it's great, but that's a huge risk. 16 is still not there for the blue team, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, they're so close, they should get the talent. And now it's a fight over the curse again. The boss is definitely doing work topside. That's oh, but the kill against Suljin. Yeah, that should seal the deal. And, well, they went for a greedy play, but it seems like it's going to work out either way. Muradin goes in again. There's the curse. And, guys, this is a bit of a disaster. Boss topside now gets mad value. Bot lane, obviously, is going to destroy the 4-2. We're already looking at level 16 talents on both teams now, which gives us the wrong place, wrong time now as well. Looks like the Panda might fall here. Jumps in, jumps out, tries to dodge, and has the ult ready, and he gets interrupted, and he falls. Yeah, unlucky for the sexy Panda plays, and now we have a massive push topside. Hold my beer, definitely going into this and saying, guys, come on, we can pull this off. Let's win a map and see if we can get more. And now they are in a position where they could definitely do that. The fort in the middle is obviously falling. Down at the bottom, another keep is going to be attacked. The one at the top side is definitely going to get dropped. There's a bit more damage from Suljin, but honestly, they are in a lot of trouble right now. They are in a world of pain at this point. 50,000 damage for Falstad and for Li Ming, but that boss is still looking healthy. And yep, the Panda's going to be back soon. Here's the ult up as well, but this could be game. This could definitely be game. And they're trying to go for the play. Nice move here, good cleanse and Ancestral from Shamzik. But here comes Johanna. Okay, they're trying to move in. Panda is also in action. The core is falling though. Muradin is already on it. They're trying to right-click it. Tyrande is already dead. They zone out the rest here in the back line. They're trying to make the play now also for Muradin once more. The boss is down, and so will be Muradin. Muradin is about to fall, and up at the top, Li Ming gets annihilated, and now Hanzo is also dead. Everybody dropped with the exception of Dehaka, with 34% on the core. And 2 keeps down. Oh, the Russians might have gone a little bit too hard here with the setup that they're running, and they're just realizing now, okay boys, maybe it's not quite working out the way that we expected it to. So now the attempt to turn this around, let's see if it works out. They definitely have quite a bit of damage that they can now use. Falstad has taken the top side, has taken the camp as well, so he can push the lane out quite nicely. But even if they get the boss and push through the bottom of the map, the fact still remains that they won't have level 20 for this push. And their opponent is so close to the Storm Talons that I would be very surprised if that one happened. Now Kuni-chan is prepping it already, as he's taking this one at least. Falstad has now started to rotate into the middle. And they're trying to get the experience here. I mean, they're trying to. They're having the camp now also attacked, so that's going to give them a little bit more XP. But as you can tell, they are still missing roughly half a level. Falstad can get a little bit more at the top and then fly in if he wants to, but everybody else is already moving down to the bottom of the map. 20 is there for the opponent. That gives us the repulsion for Li Ming. Also, the Eyes of the Huntress now taken too. And here comes the Contagion plus the Rewind. Yeah, and the boss is there, but already burned down to half HP, but the Russians are going to try and do what the Russians do. They're going to try for the aggression, see if they can maybe get a kill or two. Level 20 would really help them with this, though. They go for Muradin. He got locked down. The ensnare comes through. The arrow from Hanzo, and there's the triple Panda. Level 20 is in. Fuck me! Muradin is surviving, but the double kill from the Hinterland Blast upgrade. The Wild Hammer drop against Li Ming on Tyrande. Oh my god! Both of them just melting away. And the Russians now with 15 kills against 17 and 34% on the core, jumping in, nearly taking down Gore Rider here. They want the kills, they want to go for Muradin, and they heal on Suljin. Unfucking-believable. They're actually gonna pull it off, aren't they? They go for the core, and they're starting to take the game. They nearly went down, but then they turned the fight with a quick double kill against Tyrande and Li Ming. Now Dehaka's dead too, and this is game as the Russians take the lead in the best of 3 series. The fucking Russians did it again. 34 points on the core, and then the Russians just go in and they're like, well, hold my beer, hold my vodka. And then they take the core down. It's unbelievable. They go for the YOLO strategy. It works out. The Call of the Wildhammer comes in. The double kill with the ult against Tyrande and Li Ming. And all of a sudden, Hold My Beer loses the game. So yeah, Team Russia, these guys are amazing. They are tons of fun. You gotta love this team. You honestly gotta love them. I mean, seriously, they just went into this and said like, alright guys, let's have a little bit of fun and let's go for it. It's a third place decider and we're going up against a team that we should outclass just from an experience perspective alone. It's still great how Hold My Beer presents themselves here. Again, the Russians are obviously another level, but for Hold My Beer, this is a ton of experience that they're getting here, and they really pushed them towards the end. So it was incredibly close, and it could have led to a lead for HMB. So kudos to them. But the Russians just a little bit too strong right now. With this, we're heading straight into our second draft, and again we see Tracer being banned out, and so is Maiev, so some of the high-skilled heroes here getting eliminated, so the Russians can capitalize on that. It's Sky Temple again, by the way, the map choice of Team Russia. Alarak banned out. Keep in mind what didn't get banned out. The Panda. The big, fat Panda. So Stork very likely gonna give us some Panda action again. And Alarak ban. What else do you ban out there? What are they afraid of? Or what do they don't want to face? Let's put it like that. I mean, Hanzo, they could ban him out, for example. He was a constant pick. But no, instead they're having an Uberak eliminated for the time being. Okay. So, with that, what's the first pick? Are we going to see an early Hanzo again from them? Are they maybe going to try and play around the global? Falset, for example, could be fantastic for the control over the boss. And also, of course, the global on the map itself. I think there's a bunch of heroes out that you can really start to spec into, but yeah, I would expect something on those lines for them. And there's the Hanzo pick once more. Okay, it makes sense for them. Their hero pool will be a little bit more limited. The farther you go down in the rankings, usually you have some key heroes that you play, and obviously for former pro players or really players that grind the game every single day, that hero pool will expand a little bit. It's honestly one of the mistakes that most of the teams that play in the really low divisions make. Like if you're just like, let's say, a silver player, or you're playing in Division 7 or Division 6 for Heroes launch, most of the players there, they think they have to have this massive hero pool where in draft they will find this one strategy that counter pick that wins them the game immediately. And it's really the wrong way of approaching this. The less time you have to play heroes, and if you still want a competitive, just go for a smaller hero pool. Pick 2-3 key heroes in a certain role and really train those. And once you feel like you really master them to an extent where you can have a huge impact in the games that your teams play, then you can try and branch out and go for another one. But it's much better to do that. And as long as they have 2 or 3 choices, you will give your drafter an opportunity to draft around it a little bit. And that normally has a big impact for anybody that plays on the lower levels here. But as it stands in this game, again, here comes Chen, and they have Sylvanas actually this time. So this is now a setup where you can start to push aggressively as the Panda is soaking the damage. On the other side, then ETC and Anduin. So already, ETC with the potential to go into the stage dive here. Keep that in mind. That could be a thing. I was actually wondering for a moment if we're going to see some kind of Vikings play for Hold My Beer. I explained that recently, that they are fond of that strategy where they play with the Vikings and just split them on the lanes. They usually do that on Alt-Drag Pass, but when they do it, they also do it with Sylvanas, and Team Russia is already eliminating a lot of that by simply picking the hero away here. Medivh gets banned out too. Abathur also getting banned, which is a little bit sad to be honest, because Chen with Abathur would be pretty hilarious there. So that would be pretty amazing. And let's see how Team Russia is running that draft out. I guess Kunichan is going to go for Johanna again. It seems to be one of the tanks that he's the most familiar with. As long as he has some fun with that, it should be all good there. But what's the second damage dealer? That's most of the question than anything else, I'd say. I would expect something crazy. No, not even. Kunichan and Dehaka. So Chen actually in the main tank position. And we have Rhaegar picked too. Alrighty. Let's go. Okay, so they have the global. Could mirror ETC if he goes into a stage dive. They have Chen, can push with that. I'm really a little bit curious what the last pick is going to be. Keep in mind, Vodka-chan was the one that actually picked Zul'jin in the last game. So if we're going to see another out-of-the-box pick, it's coming from him. And here comes Hold My Beer with Li Ming and Leoric. Alright. Oh, Charles Swiffer. He wants to keep the map clean. Looking for a clean game here. Oh, Leoric. And Team Russia with the last pick, the final one in the second map of the best of 3 series. And it's Zarya! Oh boy, guys, this is looking like the McDonald's strategy. This is looking very much like the McDonald's play that I alluded to in game number 1. So let's see if we're going to see exactly that. Team Russia against Hold My Beer on Sky Temple. Game number 2, the Russians with a place in game number 1, but Hold My Beer holding their own. But now we have a bit of a variation of the McDonald's strategy for Team Russia. Let's see if that works out. Stalk on Chen, Kuni-chan on Dehaka, Vodka-chan on Zarya. We have Shamsig on Rhaegar and Banabir on Sylvanas. On the right side of the map, Baltz on Li Ming, Gore Rider on Hanzo for Hold My Beer, Cesabos on Leoric, Sartuas on ETC, and Scope on Anduin. And it is going to be interesting. Again, the strategy that I explained in game number 1 works mostly on this map. And one of the reasons is that when you start pushing, let's say, through the bot lane and you eliminate structures, you can then afterwards on level 10 move to the boss and win that. So you go for an early lead in experience, and then you try to go for the boss. Now, there has to be one caveat that it gets thrown out with this, though. The strategy was executed in the past when the experience changes were not in play yet. The experience changes that came at the end of last year. So that's highly important, because now when you take structures down, they don't give you experience as quickly as previously, but it increases the passive experience that you gain over time. That's important for a simple reason. The whole McDonald's strategy that I explained hinged pretty much on the idea that you pushed aggressively through the lanes and structures, took them down quickly, capitalized on the fact that nobody can kill the panda, and you have a hyper damage, hyper carry behind it, and then you take down an early fort. And taking the towers in the fort would give you such an experience boost that you would have a level 10 ability much faster than your opponent. And that level 10 ability would then allow you to go take the boss, and with the boss you would attempt to finish the game, or at least get massively ahead through the bot lane and drop a keep. Now that the experience changes are in play, though, that doesn't really work anymore, because you won't be able to establish that much of a lead this early in the game any longer. So it's still a very, very annoying combo to go up against, but I don't think we're going to see quite the same aggression that Fnatic showed back then against teams like Dignitas. And it's obviously also an execution matter too. In this case, though, the camp gets taken on both sides. Siege Giants are getting grabbed. Also, absolutely love that build. Demolitions experts on level 1, and then the particle grenade focus on level 7 as well. Normally we have the speed barrier taken on level 4. That's particularly true when you're playing with Garrosh, so that he has an easier time rushing into the opponent, trying to get the kills there. We're having Kuni-chan already moving at the bottom of the map. Dehaka at the global should always be at the bot lane before the first objective spawns, so that he still has the option of tunneling into the middle or the top to set them up for a good fight there. Star gets mass pinged by his teammates. Apparently everybody is just saying like, come top dude, we can push right now, we have the camp, let's go, party time. Zarya's on the way as well. The Grand Division, speed barriers, expect that has been taken. Yep, and here comes the Sylvanas value, and they're starting to push, and they're starting to push aggressively. Zarya sitting in the middle in the meantime. And yes, there is that push power that we talked about earlier. Enhanced by Sylvanas, of course, and they are starting to take the towers down. And the more structures you eliminate without the objective, the better on Sky Temple, obviously. Dehaka is also escorting an entire minion wave into the towers, which means Kuni-chan is actually sitting here so that when someone rotates, like ETC, he can delay that and make sure that he gets even less experience there. And honestly, this seems like a little play, but it's things like this that really bring your team ahead. There will be a small experience lead for Team Russia because of this, and that will slowly and steadily start to stack up. It doesn't really show yet, but it's definitely there, and it's something that has to be respected, because the more of these plays are being made. Look, we're seeing pretty much the exact same thing, with the exception that Kuni-chan actually missed it this time, but that has to be the idea behind all of this. It's incredibly important that you soak the lane experience, and that's one of the biggest mistakes that you see from inexperienced teams, that they actually miss out on waves like this. So Hold My Beer is doing a good job by rotating either Li Ming or ETC down whenever Dehaka pushes a wave into the towers and takes it. But if you start losing half a wave here, half a wave there, all of a sudden your opponent will have a lead. And if that coincidence with an objective, and you for example see a temple here with a level 7 ability on your opponent's side, that can make the difference of you winning or losing the objective and getting a lead or getting completely dropped there. So it's highly important. And on other maps, it can go into a full-on snowball. So Stork obviously has now also the chance with the Panda to get a lot of these temples quite easily by himself, which is another big advantage for them. But just generally speaking, that Dehaka factor later on is going to become incredibly important. it is really a question of what ETC takes on level 10. If he goes into the mosh pit, then Dehaka is going to just run the off lane in the late game the entire time and trying to get them that value, pushing the lanes out and pressuring structures. If ETC goes for the stage dive, then Leo will have to take on, I don't want to say a main tank role, but he will have to be a little bit more in the focus with a 4-man, and ETC can then stage dive in when there's any trouble with that. But that's definitely what the two teams are currently focusing on right now. And while we're having that break, let me actually explain real quickly again why Dehaka is usually at the bot lane. You can see him here in the middle right now, and that's because he rotates between the bot lane and the mid lane to get the experience. That's something that you would expect from Leoric on the other side, but Leo is actually still all the way at the back here. But normally Leoric would now meet the rotation, because thanks to talents like the Neil Peasants, he has that wave clear, and you see that usually on, I mean, pretty much any map. You look at Infernal Shrines, you look at on Towers of Doom, and you see Leo's rotating between lanes, and that's what he usually does there. And that's normally what really helps to keep you in play. But if you have a global like Falstad or let's say Dehaka, you want to be the one that is in that position. Because if you are at the bot lane and you continue, let's say Dehaka rotates back down, takes this wave and pushes this in and then starts to retreat here. Once that Li Ming comes down, he can easily then just tunnel into the top or the middle and try and force a fight there with the team. And that's where you really get the value out of the global. That's one of the reasons why in 9 out of 10 cases, it's a huge mistake if you're trying to actually Hearthstone back and then use the global to go back onto the lane. So it's just one example of how you try and get the most out of the global. But again, not quite sure what exactly the pause is about, but as it stands, we have an even exchange in the temples here, and once that the game continues, we're definitely going to see how Hold My Beer is dealing with that Dehaka situation, and it's going to become incredibly obvious that once that level 10 is there. But for the time being, not a single kill in the game, and we're going to find out if one of the teams is going to try and make a play here for the objective, as we're having now the Panda soloing pretty much all the way at the top, one of the temples for his team. And Stork, is having an easy time there. It's, by the way, Chen and Muradin that are two great heroes for that. You, of course, stay on point, but still. And there's a rotation from Dehaka again, already making exactly that move down to the bottom of the map. We're having even more pressure topside, because with 4 heroes in the middle, that means that you can easily take that down. And as we established before, you take the objective, and then you have an easy time with this. Good move here also, dropping the thingy, the totem, and dropping the lightning shield on it to dismount opponents. And now Dehaka can actually go at the top, and yep, Leo is still in the middle. That's exactly the problem right here. 5 versus 4, Li Ming is down. Leo couldn't rotate in, but at least he gets some value as Anduin falls and escorts another wave into this. But the double kill makes that worth it, and they're even looking for a triple. Dehaka can now also start rotating back in, but that was exactly that move that we talked about. Leo started to go mid-top, mid-bot lane, and then Dehaka, after pushing out one wave, jumped in. And now they're even, thanks to the 2 heroes that were eliminated, going straight through the wall up here at the top. Looking really good with this right now. So definitely done. Very, very nicely. Taking another tower down, dropping the hit points on the second one. Dehaka already playing around accessible. But yeah, the situation here is a really solid one now for the Russians. Now, they're not too far ahead. It's a structural advantage that really matters. That's where they have taken the big lead right now. And this is what they're going to try and establish even more. Kuni-chan again with the drag attempt. The fight, on the other hand, in the middle as the Panda is in trouble. Can they get the shield out? Zarya is dead too. Stork able to walk away. That was at least a good move from Hold My Beer, able to get their first kill. So job well done right now. Definitely not just rolling over and taking the L here. Instead, playing around it quite nicely. Sylph with the wave now, the Festering Wounds on level 7. Is going to try and get some more stacks in for the Unfurling Shadows. Nothing insane for her just yet. Had a bit of a brawl topside, but she only got 24 stacks up to this point. Zarya herself, by the way, with 21 stacks on the level 1 talent, didn't even go into the grenade on level 7, but instead the explosive barrier, so making it a bit more tricky for the opponent to deal with Chen, since Stork is probably going to be the recipient for most of the shields here, and is already starting to race around here as he gets the shield. In the meantime, ETC is going to get his level 10 soon, and then we're going to have a look at what the ult is. Honestly, I expect Mosh Pit. I really think that stage dive would be nice for them to control Dehaka in the late game, but with them running Leoric, I would be a bit surprised if it is stage dive after all. There's the expulsion zone already taken. And standard talents this time. Not really too much YOLO. Still looking at Chen here mostly. And up at the top, again, Dehaka against Leon. That's the setup that we talked about earlier. Dehaka is topside now. Why is Dehaka topside? Pretty simple. Because we're having the objective spawn at the bottom of the map. And here come the old Smosh Pit. Indeed has been taken. The Pandas with the action. And the save on Li Ming as Anduin comes in. But the expulsion zone is putting him into trouble. Nice ult by Anduin though. Saving ETC. Not even that arrow that we saw from Sylvanas could do anything about it. Leo is already starting to rotate over, but that means that Dehaka can push another wave through. And thanks to the catapults that they already have on lane, this is going to hurt the wall massively. That wall is going to fall. That's more structures down, and that's exactly the advantage that you get through Dehaka at this point in time. More stacks coming in for Zarya too, as she's now more starting to move in. The Panda is taking it again in the mid lane. Good damage against the fort, executed by Hold My Beer as Leo pushed that out. But Dehaka is there and saves the fort for the time being. I'm talking about forts. Well, the bot lane, that's a different story. Well, the fountain for the Russians has been destroyed, so they don't have a fallback option there, but it looks like Li Ming might fall. There's the mosh pit, gets interrupted. Dehaka comes in, looks for the drag, doesn't get it, and misses the isolation as Hanzo jumps away. But they're still having a problem with ETC. Oh, and he goes down. ETC dead. Zarya completing her quest. Good arrow against the backline though, but they're not able to get too much out of it. 41 stacks for Sylvanas are now starting to increase the damage output from her dagger a bit more as well. Dehaka is making the play for the temple again at the bottom of the map. 3 kills against 1 level lead. Zarya in a bit of trouble, but gets saved by the rest of the team. And Rhaegar wasn't even forced into the ancestral healing yet. He still has it available. And Dehaka isn't even with him there. There's the Entomb, but the immediate jump against Leo. And he just pretty much suicided straight into this. Went full murky at this point. And gets the trade value as they are getting the Siege Giant Camp value. And of course the temple value too. As the fort at the bot lane gets attacked and nearly taken down. Nicely done. Top side. Santuas on ETC, sliding it through here, but the problem is the level 13 that we're soon going to have now. And of course, again, the structure advantage that is now ready for Team Russia. I mean, they have level 13, they're level ahead. That fort at the bottom of the map is still in play, which by itself is already amazing, to be honest with you. But yeah, structurally speaking, they're still far, far ahead of their opponent, which means every time they trade evenly on the objective, when there is a double temple, they are the beneficiaries of this. The Windrunner for the second wave, it potentially increase also in the stacks now for Sylvanas. Again, the play for the fort. As long as the fort falls, you get those extra catapult on the third wave. That's what they're hoping for. Talking about camps and taking down forts and stuff down at the bottom of the map, the Siege Giant camp is going to ensure that the keep is going to fall. But, oh my god, Zarya with a shield and she gets through. The kill potentially, no, they don't get Li Ming, but they get Hanzo. And now ETC is also getting attacked, trying to slither his way out of this one like the snake he is. But might not be able to get that quite. Nope. He's just adding more stacks to Sylvanas as he falls. The Panda already soaking the damage here in the middle. Up to the top. Big camp pushing through. Leo has to take care of that. Li Ming is down at the bottom of the map, but the fort is eliminated. And now even Dehaka pushing in from the side, trying to see if he can get the flank through against her. And as he would expect, in the middle of the map, the fort is getting attacked by the rest of the team. And that's not only the only thing. No, they're trying to go for Li Ming again. And she survives. Close call, though. So that means that they might even be able to hold onto the fort, but Team Russia is focusing their attention onto the mid lane immediately afterwards. Temple at the bottom of the map is going to be activated in another couple of seconds, and so is the one in the mid lane. But the fort is still there, because they were trying to go for the Li Ming kill, they couldn't go for that. So with this stat, we're having now double temple taken for a short period of time. It's 15 against 13. Well, that fort is already down. Still need to deal with the siege giants, which they now did, but you can't just give over both objectives. They have to fight for something here, despite the fact that they're behind in experience. They need to make a move now, because yeah, if you lose both, then you're in trouble. You're gonna lose everything. You're losing every single wall, and then your keeps are completely exposed, so they have to definitely put some aggression in. We're also having now the Spectral Leech on level 13, going full Chris here with Leoric. 39,000 damage on Hanzo, 25,000 on Sylvanas. And Rhaegar is sitting topside, just pushing this out. The goal is obvious. They want to have level 16. They want to have 16, and they're going to get that there. Down at the bottom of the map, Kuni-chan with even more pressure against the keep. It's not going to fall, not through the temple, but it's definitely going to be low. And the rest of them is now moving over towards the camp. They can still take this one away. Yeah, with them having 16 already, that is no problem whatsoever for them. And they're looking for kills too. Kuni-chan missing the isolation again. Mainly because Gore Rider jumped out with Hanzo once more, but the kill against Leo is still there. The arrow was trying to prevent it, but that didn't work out either. Now we're having on 16 also the synergy with the Earthgrass Totem. Pretty much a stun setup, plus the elongated tongue. And they're starting to go for that. And with the camp, they might be able to get the keep. They can push this now aggressively. Now Leo will be back, don't get me wrong. But you still have a Sylvanas with that push too, and she can enhance that play even more. That's likely what we're going to see there. Bottom of the map. Yep, that's what we're having. Li Ming just finds herself the entire time on the defense duty. Like the entire time. You just like see Li Ming at the bottom of the map. And now is it going to be the play for the boss? Yeah, looks like it. Pretty much that. Yep. Boss is taken, or will be taken. Nearly a 2-level advantage now. And can they play around it? I mean, they have a couple of cool tools with the Entomb and also the Anduin ult. It's all about the interrupts, honestly. If Mosh Pit and Anduin's ult get interrupt, that's a different story. There's the Mosh Pit, and the interrupt is there immediately. And the boss is taken, and now they go for the kills, and that's a disaster. Yeah, that ETC is going to fall again, and they're going to lose more, aren't they? Here comes the jump in as they're trying. The drag perfectly played against Li Ming. Anduin is already down. In comes Sylvanas from the back. She drops Li Ming quickly, gets the Ancestral, and now they're going to go for Hanzo. Can he jump out? Nope, he cannot. And, well, Leo is most likely going to fall there too towards the end, but it doesn't even matter anymore. That keep at the bottom of the map is so low and is getting dropped within seconds. Nice setup from the Russians once more. 12 kills against 1, and they are looking at a 2-0 victory now, as Hold My Beer was wiped off the map, wiped off Sky Temple. And that's the win for the Russians, as they claim 3rd place in this tournament, the HeroesHype Premier Series tournament here. GG and well played, which focuses our attention now to the grand final with Granite Gaming and Washed Up 2.0.